What do fiery furnaces, lions' dens, and mysterious dreams have in common? They're all in the book of Daniel, a powerful story of faith, prophecy, and God's unshakable sovereignty in the middle of chaos. Whether you're new to the Bible or looking for deeper insight, this video breaks down the book of Daniel chapter by chapter and shows how it still speaks to us today. The book of Daniel is both historical and prophetic. It's split into two major sections, chapters 1 to 6, stories of Daniel and his friends in exile, full of miracles, faith tests, and God's deliverance. Chapters 7 to 12, prophetic visions, filled with symbols, beasts, empires, and the coming of God's eternal kingdom. Daniel was a Hebrew exile in Babylon, taken as a young man during King Nebuchadnezzar's conquest of Jerusalem. But instead of compromising his faith, Daniel rose in influence because of his integrity, wisdom, and the hand of God on his life. Chapter 1. Faith in Exile. Daniel and his three friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, are taken to Babylon. Their Hebrew names are changed to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The Babylonians try to erase their identity and reprogram their values. But Daniel refuses to eat the king's food, choosing instead a simple diet that honors God. Key lesson: even in a foreign land, Daniel chooses faithfulness over fitting in, and God honors it. Chapter 2. The King's Dream and the Statue. King Nebuchadnezzar has a dream that no one can interpret except Daniel, with help from God. The dream shows a statue made of 4 metals, crushed by a stone: head of gold, Babylon; chest of silver, Medo Persia; thighs of bronze, Greece; legs of iron, feet of iron and clay, Rome. The stone represents God's kingdom, which crushes every earthly empire and stands forever. Prophetic insight. This dream outlines world history in advance, a divine timeline leading to God's eternal rule. Chapter 3. Faith in the Fire. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refuse to bow to a golden image, even under threat of death. So they're thrown into a blazing furnace, but God shows up in the fire. A 4th figure appears, like a son of the gods. They walk out unharmed. The king is stunned. Lesson: God doesn't always save us from the fire, but He's with us in it. Chapter 4. The king goes mad. Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a giant tree that gets chopped down. Daniel tells him it means he'll lose his sanity for 7 years if he doesn't humble himself. It happens. The proud king is driven mad until he looks up and praises God. Takeaway: God humbles the proud and honors those who acknowledge Him. Chapter 5. The Writing on the Wall. Fast forward to King Belshazzar, who throws a wild party and drinks from the temple's stolen cups. Suddenly, a hand writes on the wall, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. Daniel interprets, God has numbered your days. You've been weighed and found wanting. Your kingdom will be divided. That night, Babylon falls to the Medo-Persians. Point: God's justice never misses a moment. Chapter 6. The Lion's Den. Now, under King Darius, Daniel is promoted, but his rivals trick the king into outlawing prayer. Daniel continues praying 3 times a day. He's thrown into a den of lions, but God shuts the lions' mouths. Daniel survives. His enemies don't. Truth: consistency in prayer brings divine protection. Part 2. Visions and Prophecy. Chapters 7 to 12 shift from stories to apocalyptic visions, packed with symbolism, spiritual warfare, and messianic prophecy. Let's break them down. Chapter 7. The Four Beasts. Daniel sees four terrifying beasts rising from the sea. Each one represents a world empire: lion with eagle's wings, Babylon; bear, Medo-Persia; leopard with four wings, Greece; beast with iron teeth, Rome. But then comes a vision of one like a son of man, Messiah, who is given everlasting dominion. This is a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ, who calls himself Son of Man more than 80 times in the New Testament. Chapter 8. The Ram and the Goat. Another vision, this time of a ram, Medo-Persia, and a goat, Greece. The goat defeats the ram, and its large horn breaks into four, just like Alexander the Great's empire did after his death. From one of these comes a little horn, a persecuting king, often connected to Antiochus Epiphanes, a foreshadowing of the Antichrist. Prophecy meets history and previews the final spiritual battles. Chapter 9. Daniel's Prayer in the 70 Weeks Prophecy. Daniel prays for his people with a broken heart. Then comes a prophecy. 70 weeks or sevens are decreed for Israel. This timeline includes the rebuilding of Jerusalem, the coming of Messiah the Prince, the cutting off death of the Messiah, desolation and war. This is one of the most debated and significant messianic prophecies, pointing to the timeline of Jesus' first coming and a future fulfillment still unfolding. Chapters 10 to 12. Spiritual Warfare and the End Times. Chapter 10 pulls back the curtain. An angel tells Daniel he was delayed by the Prince of Persia, a spiritual being. Michael the archangel had to help. This reveals the invisible war in the heavenly realms. Chapter 11 describes a long, precise prophecy about future kings, battles, and betrayals. Scholars confirm it aligns with centuries of history, from Persia to Greece to Rome. Finally, chapter 12 reveals a time of great trouble. A resurrection of the dead, rewards for the righteous, sealing the book until the end. The message? God is in control of the future, even when it feels uncertain. Final takeaway: faithfulness plus future hope. The book of Daniel isn't just about lions and dreams. It's about standing firm in a fallen world. In a culture that tries to rename you, remember who you are. In trials, remember who is with you. In prophecy, remember that God holds the future. The kingdoms of this world will rise and fall, but God's kingdom, and it will never end. Have you ever felt like Daniel, misunderstood, pressured, or out of place? Hold on to your faith. God doesn't just save from the fire. He walks through it with you. If this video helped you understand the book of Daniel, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with someone who needs encouragement. Drop a comment. Which chapter or verse from Daniel speaks to you most?